He goes to Dortmund and we see the change in his character, in his personality, everything about him, and then he goes with Maresca and straight away he's speaking after the game saying how settled he feels, how he's enjoying working with the manager, how the manager's putting his arm around him. Basically understanding the character straight away, and we're talking about one game in, but that can change so much in your attitude towards training, towards what you feel going into a game. He'll feel like he can take every player on every single time now, whereas his legs will have felt heavy. His mandible felt heavy at United. He'll have felt negative every time he stepped out onto the pitch, like he didn't want to be there. It's incredible what an opinion can do. So what do Chelsea do? Because he looked happy and Nkunku comes on and plays in that number 9 role, which is not really his role. He's normally on the left side, isn't he? But scored the goal, but then you've got Neto. They've spent a lot of money on, so do you play him? Do you move him over to the right? But then you've got Madueke over there, and then you've got Joao Felix who came on, but you want Cole Palmer to play in the 10, or do you want him to play on the right? I'm confused by all of this. Stephen Warnock sort that out. So does Jadon Sancho start next game against West Ham? Does Nkunku start up front rather than Jackson? And where do you put Neto and Madueke and Cole Palmer and Felix? Well, all you'd say is that as to all the players that come in, you are here to play a rotation game, and as long as you've got a medal around your neck at the end of the season or close to it, the goal won't be to win the Premier League this season, but it will be to break into that top 4. The goal next year should be to win the Premier League because they have got so much talent within their squad, but like we've said before, there's going to be ups and downs this season, trying to understand the new system, but the players will understand. Well, I'm competing against such and such. I know I'm going to have to be at my best this week, and do you know what? If he plays next week, so be it, but I'm going to play the week after, and I'm going to have to perform at my maximum. They have got so much talent that they have to understand they're not going to play every game, they're going to rotate. It's Chelsea Football Club at the end of the day. They're a massive football team, massive club, and they shouldn't be where they've been in the last few years, but it is a rebuilding phase. But they are such a talented forward, 6 to 8 players, and they're going to have to rotate, and they're going to have to rotate, and they're going to have to come to terms with that. And you know as a player as well that if you get that opportunity, you've got to take it, haven't you? You look at Neto maybe taking a little bit of time to adapt. Jadon Sancho thought, okay, this is my opportunity to come on and show exactly what I'm about, and that's exactly what he's done. So he'll be wanting to start that next game, but he'll know that there's a lot of players in that position, in those attacking areas, that can also play in that position, that will also be training and saying, look at me. But Dewsbury Hall is another one then. Yeah, there's so many. Success takes that all away, Rob. If a team's successful, whether you play 20, 30, 40 games at the end of the season, if you're successful as a team, that all gets forgotten. It is how to manage those players as well. That's the only thing, because you know in the big games you want to play, don't you? You want to be in that starting 11, so it's how as a manager do you deal with those players that aren't starting? Yes, because it's interesting, as you were saying, Ben Chilwell's now been reintroduced or reintegrated into the squad, having been seen to be on the outside, so he's got that kind of managerial headache as well, hasn't he? And that is hard because you're trying to obviously manage your squad that you've got. But then he also had other players that were on the outside that now, like you say, Chilwell's been reintegrated, so it's about making sure that they stay confident and they still feel part of the squad. I think it's clever. I think it's clever from him because he also knows Ben Chilwell's a great player. We can get him fit. He's an asset to the team, but also what it does is it gives the other players on the fringes belief that they can get back in. And I think it's a sign of the manager as well that he hasn't got a big ego and he hasn't just said, that's my final decision. I appreciate managers who go, do you know what, I might be wrong on that. Everyone's wrong at some point, and I think that's good from him.